Hey film moviegoers, and welcome to my channel Film Scene. My name is Chelsea, and for my next installment for my Black History Month series, I wanted to review 13th. It's a documentary, and it is written and directed by Ava DuVernay, and it talks about the 13th Amendment, that being abolishing slavery, and how slavery wasn't really abolished, it was just reformed and recreated into an even bigger monster, and that being our prison system, that being privatized imprisonment and the war on drugs, and how it is a systematic racial institution that works to continue to demean people of color. So that's the sort of basis of this documentary, and I wanted to discuss my likes and my dislikes first. So I have a lot of thoughts, and if you'd like to continue watching, that'd be great. So I really enjoyed the editing of this film. First and foremost, the footage and the images along with the interviewees' thoughts were very, very seamless. It seemed as if the interviewees finished each other's thoughts, and the images are placed at perfect time. The editing was just really well done. In addition to that, it was very artistic the way it was shot. The people who were being interviewed were interviewed in these beautiful spaces, abandoned train stations and against concrete, so against these very industrial backgrounds. I watched the interview that Ava did with Oprah afterwards, and she mentioned how she wanted her interviewees to be in a space of labor to reiterate the labor that prisoners do, so that all made sense to me after watching the interview. And I also really enjoyed the sequence in which the story was told. I say story, I know it's a history, but I enjoyed the way that the story was presented to us, the history of our country. The sequence made sense. It didn't go back and forth in time too much. It was a very natural progression, and the timing in which certain issues and themes were brought up made sense. So that all just made it very effortless to sort of watch and follow. Ava also did a lot of research, and you can definitely tell in this film. It was a 2-year process, and not only the amount of people that she interviewed, but the breadth of the people that she interviewed was very impressive. She interviewed authors and teachers and even people who were previously incarcerated. She interviewed conservatives and Democrats, and it was a very, very wide spectrum, and it made the story more rich. To see those amount of people and their different opinions from different backgrounds, that was really interesting to see as well. It was not only the images that she presented that were effective, but the way in which she presented them were very effective as well. For example, she had an image from the Trump rally, and that woman who was at it and she was being pushed around constantly. She was black, and she also showed some historical footage of a black man who was in his Sunday best also being pushed around, and she had them together. So this montage really did reveal more than words ever could, and that was how our history was not that long ago, A, and B, that not much has changed since then. That was all very effective as well. Another thing that she did that I thought was absolutely brilliant was the sort of ticker that she had throughout the film. In the beginning, she had the amount of people that were incarcerated during Nixon, I believe, and then as the film progressed, the count went higher and higher and higher, and it just sort of reinforced the idea of how this has elevated, how this issue has elevated, and how many people are continuing to be affected by incarceration. And that was really cool to see as well, because I think that some people are more numbers based and they need statistics and facts along with the stories of people of today and of history as well. So to have those working together to present a more full story. Now to say some of the dislikes I had, I only had 2, but one main one that I had was the lack of interviewees from the opposing side. She had a couple in there. There was one from ALEC, for example, but I just wish that she had more people who disagreed with her, just for a more round-up presentation. I could tell what her opinion was for the people that she interviewed, and I even agree with most of her opinions that she had, if not all of them, but I would have liked to see more from the opposing side, just to see how they sort of condone what's happening, and if they have different information, and how they sort of process what's going on currently in our country and our history as well. I would like to see more of that side. However, that being said, I did appreciate that those who opposed her opinion were not presented as idiots. She did a good job of showing that even though they disagreed with her, their opinions were also valid, and both sides need to be heard in order for one to make an informed decision. So I enjoyed that she didn't treat them as if they were just stupid and just kind of in there for no good reason. And one other thing that I noticed, when she did a lot of cutaways, she had lyrics from different Black artists. I think Common was one of them that she brought up. And it wasn't the fact that the lyrics were on the screen, but it was just that they weren't all on at the same time, so they were just brought up at different points throughout the film, and it was very hyper, and there wasn't really a context for them. I didn't know who was saying this. I didn't know anything about the artists or what they were. There was just no context for it, and then it just came out of nowhere, and then it kind of went away. So I wish that those weren't on there. They're just very distracting to me. But other than those two negatives I really did enjoy the film. It was very informative. There was a lot of information, a lot that I didn't know before, but as I said, it was presented in a way that made sense and it progressed very well, so I appreciate that. It's very relevant today, obviously, and it's just a very nice historical piece, as much history as you can fit into a 100-minute film. But I would give this a 9.5 out of 10 stars. It just forces you to sort of pay attention, and even if you don't agree with her viewpoints or those that are in the film, it just shows that we should be reading and learning and trying to understand more about our current state, our history, how to improve in the future, myself included, obviously, because usually when I delve into this sort of issue, I tried to read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, for example, and the more I tried to read it, the more angry I got, and I put it down, I couldn't finish it. But you have to push through that anger, you have to push through if you're confused, or if you're bewildered, or if you don't want to pay attention to it, if your life is better without knowing anything about it. That's understandable, but you can only ignore it for so long. Anyway, I really enjoyed this film, and thank you for listening to my opinions. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I hope to see you guys for the next review. Bye!